guys, and welcome back to another episode of Talkoffamepod podcast with your host, Kylie. On this special episode of the podcast, we have success coach for women and host of the Creative for More podcast, Lisa Benavidez, where we talk about her podcast, how to become successful, and much more coming up on the podcast. How are you, Lisa? Thank you so much for coming on and taking the time.
Kylie, I'm so excited to be here and just get to know you a bit and share some cool stuff with your listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can you create your dream life in terms of becoming successful and in basically job opportunities? How can you create your own dream life?
I think it's going to start with you defining what success actually looks like for you. Typically, we fall into this trap of listening to what friends and family have deemed as successful or what society tells us means we're successful. And we start down a pathway that is based on what other people are believing is true success, and they're placing that belief on us as well, but it might not really light us up. So defining success for yourself is the first thing that you got to do. What do you love doing? What are some of your values? What would make you jump out of bed every day? What's going to bring in the income that you want in your life, to have the lifestyle that you want? Knowing what all of that looks like, and then you can decide, okay, what am I good at? What are my skills? What do I need to learn? How can I pursue this further? But first, it's going to start with what's really going to light you up.
Because if you don't do a job that that you enjoy, then what's the point of doing it if you don't enjoy it? Because of course you want to live the best life you can, but of course you want to have a job and a life that you want, not what other people want. Because I know a lot of people have people that to control their lives and all these things, and they just kind of don't think about what they personally want and not what other people think. And that's kind of what our society is kind of dealing with, is that we only care about what other people think and their opinions
Yeah,
rather than themselves.
right.
But
Definitely.
how should we kind of define our success in life? Is there any specific way we should kind of define it, or how we should kind of approach it?
So I don't like to say there's a right or wrong way necessarily, and it actually becomes a bit of a process. When I work with somebody on this, it might take us, a few sessions, and it's constantly being revamped and upgraded. As you grow, this idea of success might grow as well. So in order for you to get started here, it's going to take some time because you have to unlearn some of the things that you've believed to be true for however many years, and dig in deep to what success means to you. But like I mentioned, I do like to look at values. So what are some things that are really important to you? What is a non-negotiable in your life that you have maybe let go of, or you validate to ignore because of work or because of what somebody else says? So values will drive you a long way. And then we can look at, the other things like your skills. What are you truly passionate about in life? What would a job look like around that passion? How can you monetize it and maximize the potential there to not only give back to the world what your true gift is, but also feel like you're making an impact? And success is not just the dollar amount, right? It's the feeling, it's the way that you're living your life. Does it represent all that you want it to represent? And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like values are probably one of the first things that we're going to look at.
Yeah, value is such a big part of kind of the role we kind of play in everyday life. Because of course you're when you do those values, you're what value do I do in the next couple of days? Or what value should I take away from this project? What are some of those values for you in everyday life? Because I know there's a bunch of values we kind of set every single day with where we want to be.
I'll tell you, my top two values in life and business are fun and love. So if it's not fun, I don't want to do it. And if it doesn't create fun, sometimes we have to push through some tasks and responsibilities that aren't so fun. For example, cleaning house, right? It's not fun, but I love the feeling of having a clean house, having people over in my home and entertaining. Like, that's fun to me, so it's worth it. And then love. I want to make sure that all that I do is with love. I want people to feel loved and encouraged. So those are two big values that I have that drive me every day in life and business.
That's a good goal to set for yourself. Because obviously you want to have fun and love each people or yourself each day. Because
Yeah,
obviously with living everyday life, you have to do things like cleaning or going shopping, for example. I know a lot of people hate cleaning and shopping, including
right.
me. I just hate doing that. But it's like if you do that goal and have that kind of clean environment, I should probably word it, is that obviously makes yourself more happier in terms of like living in a safe
Exactly.
environment and like being happy to what you got done that day.
100%. Yeah, we don't like to do everything, but when it's part of like a requirement of life, or like I said, it's going to bring something out, an outcome and a result that you really do want, that that task, how can you make it fun, right?
Hmm.
Going back to the cleaning house topic, throw on some music, right? Buy an iced coffee. Like, how can you make the experience as fun as possible to get the outcome that you're looking for? And that can translate through anything that you're doing.
And like in 2012, you were diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. Like, how did that like diagnosis kind of change you, or like say impacted you in a way back then?
Getting that rheumatoid arthritis diagnosis was really tough. It was about a year of really not knowing what was going on in my body and constant pain, extreme fatigue, doctor appointments, blood work, all kinds of tests. And it was really rough. But after I knew what it was and I was able to look for answers and learn about it, um, I learned a lot. I mean, I could go on for hours about that experience. I think the top three things that I walked away from and I'm still learning are to redefine success, right?
Hmm.
Which really means like I started to be more intentional with my life and how I was living it because things got a lot harder for me to do. I couldn't energetically keep up. And so I really had to look at what is important to me. What do I want my day to look like and feel like, and who do I want to be with? And that just continued. And again, to this day, like just really being intentional about what I'm doing. It also taught me to stop people pleasing. I love people. I'm an Enneagram 2, which means I thrive on people loving me. And
Hmm.
that's very disastrous, where I will go, go, go and give until I'm beyond my own limits and boundaries, and that's not healthy for me. So I had to learn how to not people please and again really look at what are my intentions here? What can I truly give to somebody? And when do I need to say no? That was a huge one. And then finally, it was reaching out, asking for help. That was difficult in the beginning. I fought it. I still tried to do it all myself, but we need each other. We need community and we need our people. So asking for help, learning to ask for help, accepting it was and still is one of the greatest gifts that I have learned through having RA.
That's like the biggest like lesson you kind of need when like going through a disease like that. Because obviously, have like
Yeah,
your friends or family's backs is the most important thing to like to a person. It's the most important thing when you're going through something. Because there's always that one person you can call, whether it's like a sister,
yeah,
parent, or whatever it is. Like
that
you
was my
always have
mama.
that one person to go to, obviously. Go through whether it's something like, oh, you have like got diagnosed with something, or you're having a hard time with mental health, or whatever it is you're going through.
Right.
It's just like there's always that one person or people around you that you should call to and kind of level up your game a little bit. And like there's always some people to kind of call when you need
Yeah.
someone to talk to. But like I want to ask you, like, what should people know about it? Like the disease, like arthritis. Like what should people kind of know about it to kind of look out for?
I mean, every case is different. Everybody also decides to heal and deal with it differently. So I feel like respecting those decisions and the boundaries that people are different and they don't have to do it, live with it the same way as anyone else is probably a big one. And then something that, you might not understand if you don't have something like this, like an autoimmune disease. So RA was, it like gives you this extreme fatigue that I talked about. And in like the autoimmune disease world, people call us spoonies. And
Mhm.
there's like this whole story that you could read about what it means. But basically, it means that our energy levels are not normal. So
Mhm.
other people that can wake up, take a shower, get ready, make the bed, get dressed, or sorry, I think I already said that, eat breakfast, go to work. Like it took so much energy just to get up and take a shower that sometimes that's all I could do in one day. And so energetically, just know that while they want to do life, they have to do it very differently and intentionally because our energy just wears out too soon and we need the rest to heal our body and to feel good. So, yeah, we wake up. Some days are good, some days are not so good. And again, I feel like it's just that listening and understanding that letting them go through it the way that they want to and having that compassion is really helpful just so that we know we're not alone, even when we can't do it all with you.
That's so true. And like, how did you kind of like live through that diagnosis? Like I know like with like being with that diagnosis, it can be very difficult in the beginning. Like with my sister, she kind of helped out dealt with autoimmune
Oh,
disease and all these things, and I knew it was very hard for her in the beginning. Like, and I'm
yeah.
sure it was the same thing for you as well. But like, how did you kind of live through that and get to kind of like be able to kind of let's just say live with it for like your life?
Yeah, I love that question. So I talk a lot about not living a mediocre life. And that starts with a decision that you're not going to live a mediocre life and whatever that looks like for you. So in the beginning, yes, extremely difficult learning how to live a new way, navigate a disease that you didn't know about before. It doesn't run in my family, so it really hit me out of the blue. Um, but once I did start feeling a little bit better, it was just that decision of I'm going to live. It might look a little different. I will have to modify the way that I do things. Um, but the decision of living was a non-negotiable. And so I camped with my family. We went on vacations. I hung out with friends. I went to family parties. Like I always say, I could have just, sat on my couch and waited to die, basically, and just let it deteriorate my body. But I didn't. I wanted to live, and it did deteriorate my body a lot. I actually just had 2 knee replacement surgeries in the last couple of years because they were so badly deformed. But yeah, even through that, like just deciding to live instead of giving up because yeah, that's a non-negotiable to me. I got a lot of life to live. I have kids, I have dreams, I have people that I want to make an impact with. So I gotta live.
Kudos to you for that. Like that's actually like so amazing because like I know like, a lot of people like once they get a diagnosis, they just want to sit back and do nothing. But like not you. Like you just want to live life. I just love that you just want to live life and get everything done, not care about what your let's say like what your body feels. So you don't like it's not like you don't care, but it's like you want to actually have fun instead of actually care about your body and how it's feeling. Let's just say.
I mean, I do care a lot about how I feel. So that's where the intention comes in, where rest is a high priority for me. I know that I take extra preparation in order to do things because it's going to take more energy. And I know that afterwards, like for example, I just got back from a camping trip on Sunday. So yesterday and today have pretty much been like relaxing days. Um, so I do listen to my body. I think that's very important.
Oh yeah.
I just don't, I don't know, like I just won't sit in as a victim of a
Oh yeah.
disease when so many people can live their life. Like everyone, if you are listening and you have something, anything, whether it's health related or not, that you are letting hold you back from something, let it go. Like let this be the inspiration you need to make a different decision right now in this moment. You can live your life with all the obstacles that are thrown at you.
Yes, because no matter what you're going through, whether it's hard or easy, like you just have to kind of not let it go, but it's like calm and free for at least a couple of hours. Like just like kind of push it, even though it might be fearful to you. I know for me as a kid, I knew like I was a very fearful kid. I didn't like to do anything, but then like you just have to kind of release that and actually do it. You
Yeah.
don't know until at least you try and actually do those things. So like that sickness and all these things get into your head and let it like
Yeah,
control what you want to do or want not to do.
that's right. Yeah.
But like, what are some ways, I knew you kind of covered this a little bit earlier, but what are some ways you can kind of uncover your obstacles, whether you're going through, whether it's like mental health or kind of getting yourself up to work every day or whatever it is? Like, how should you kind of overcome obstacles whenever you're going through something?
We all have obstacles, whether they are like health related. They could be temporary things, they could be circumstances that are out of your control, and they can be circumstances that are in your control and you just keep ignoring. So, looking at your obstacles and being really honest, like, are you being a half glass or a half glass empty mentality? Are you, fixed mindset where like just angry about a lot of things, really negative. Um, Being honest, taking a look at the way you talk, the way that you look at life, your life, other people's life. Um, if it's not a positive, encouraging, and forward thinking mindset that you have about your life and the things that you're doing, that's a good wake up call that there are some obstacles holding you back. And it's going to start with you working on them. But with the health challenges, temporary things, I mean, really, I feel like it's going to come down to mindset and how you're looking at life. Like I said, I could have easily let the disease eat me alive and I could have given up and not, I could have done so much, so many things that kept me stuck and enabled with what I was dealing with. And you can too, or you can decide that you want to have a growth mindset and you want to make modifications to push forward, push past the things that are holding you back and keeping you stuck. It's hard. It's going to take work, but just be
Mhm.
committed and get support and let somebody help you on that pathway because I promise you that it's worth it. It is
It
worth
definitely is. Like
all of
that
it.
that's well said. But like why do you think like a woman can't find success? I know you are a success coach and do all these programs. So like I want to ask you, like, why do you think women can't find success or kind of don't know how to kind of approach success in their work?
I feel like there's probably lots of reasons. One is probably going to be that they've listened to other people define success for them, and they're not being true to themselves, and they're not truly happy with what they're doing because they don't want to let other people down. Women, we are very loving and nurturing by default. Like it's just in our nature to take care of people, right? If you're a
Mhm.
wife, a mom, or a caretaker of any sort, you already are giving of yourself so much. And it's hard to take back your life without feeling like you're hurting people. So I used to feel like everything that I did was for my kids, my husband, my family. Like I had to be everything for them all the time. And then I physically couldn't be that for them anymore, right? Like I couldn't get out of bed some days. I couldn't get myself dressed every day. Um, and so it was a big, hard lesson. I had to look in the mirror and think, hey, like, am I really hurting my kids by making them do their own laundry or um, telling them I can't help them at the moment because I have to go take a nap or do some exercises? Like, it's about learning how to be a woman again and allowing the power of your purpose and your passion to allow everyone around you to thrive as well. So I think that's like a roundabout way to answer the fact that women sometimes lose themselves in the midst of life and anything that is coming up for them. They forget what that even feels like. We don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to ask for what we want. We don't know how to go after our own dreams because we're so busy making everyone else's dreams come true. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. I love people who are helping other people. Like that's what I do too.
Mm-hmm.
And your people, right? You are
Yeah.
someone who deserves to have that life that you want as well. And it can incorporate your loved ones and it can incorporate the things that you want done in this world and around you. Doesn't mean that it doesn't have to include you.
And like not everyone is basically like perfect anyway, even though like these like social
Oh no.
media can be like seem like, oh, they're having a perfect life, they're traveling as an example, but like and not everyone has a perfect life. Like they might seem through social media for pictures and videos, they might have the most perfect life, but that behind the scenes are like struggling. Like if you like even through this camera, I might be seem like the happy person I've seen interviews and all these things, but and I might be struggling. I know like 3 years ago, I
Mm,
literally during the pandemic, I was literally had most bad anxiety, depression in my whole life.
mm,
And I didn't, it really struggled me. I didn't want to get out each day to the point where every time I would get up to go to the bathroom or get a shower or grab some food, I felt my body was like out of it. Like I couldn't walk unless I feel like I could pass out or fall. It is like even though like at that time I never knew how much I should get up and get through it until where I am today. I'm like sometimes
mm.
I'm like, oh, I'm so upset about a situation, but I'm like I'll be like, Kylie, smack your head out of it. Like it's just like those situations.
Yes.
Like sometimes you just need that boost of confidence to get out of bed each day. But sometimes, like
Totally.
even me, I have those situations. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this thing today. I have to do school. I have to do all these things, million things to do. But then sometimes you have to boost yourself up and be like, okay, well. I have to do it anyway, even though I don't want to. So it's just like always a boost of confidence and try to do things that you kind of need to do each day, even though you really don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong. We all have bad days. We all need to have a little pity party once in a while. I think my thing is that don't stay in the pity party, you know,
Mm,
vent, cry, binge some Netflix TV shows, like do what you got to do and then get over it. Get up, get out of there because it's not going to serve you or anyone else. It's not going to make you feel better. It's going to make you feel worse and worse and
mm,
worse because you're just not facing what you need to face to overcome whatever it is that's holding you back. And on the other side of that healing and that overcoming is an amazing, magnificent life that is waiting for you to live.
exactly. And like, how can like people feeling inspired get started in what they're feeling inspired about? Because I know like a lot of people, including me back years ago, I was like, I know like a lot of people just kind of feel inspired but don't know where to take
Yeah,
that inspiration to that extent in terms of
totally,
like careers or their goals
totally.
or whatever kind of they have. Like how can people feel inspired, get started in towards their goals?
I think it's good to start talking about it. So find someone or a group of people that you can just start to be vocal about it because if you hide and you keep it to yourself, that's where it's going to stay. It's not going to get out. It's not going to, you're not going to find that next step, you know, but in community with people, with your connections, ask them for thoughts and feedback maybe, or just share what you're thinking of doing and see where it leads. You don't know who they might know, right? I highly recommend finding a coach or mentor when possible. There's something about that outside perspective and those shifts that they can help with you to work through. That is, it always seems to fast track the process and it makes it a lot easier. And just really be aware of what you actually need. They are not going to fix everything for you. They are just a guide and leader to help you get to where you want to go. But it's really that internal decision of, I want to do something more. Don't know what it is, but I'm going to start talking about it. Journaling is another big thing that I love doing. And I have like a ton of questions that I could walk you through, but just What does a perfect day look like to you? What do you want your life to look like? How do you want to feel? Like, what are those emotions? You feel the sensations in your body through your emotions. If you're angry, you're hot and you're tense, right? But when you're happy, you're just light and feel free. So what feelings do you want to bring into your life every day? Who do you want to be around? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to live? Just start talking. Get with people who can hold you accountable to small steps that are taking you somewhere, right? Don't just stay stuck. Make a decision, even if it's the wrong one, it'll get you somewhere. And don't give up.
That's the best piece of advice I know I probably wouldn't say even like this is like when you were feeling inspired, like they don't oftentimes like don't take the inspiration kind of seriously oftentimes. And sometimes they're like, how should I get started? That's like a bad thing to do for me. I have a busy schedule. Like how am I supposed to fit that in? But it's like there's always time for something else. There's always time to kind of do something you always want to do, whether it's like traveling to, let's say, Italy or like doing a sport, even though like some people like, oh, at this age I can't do that. But it's like no matter how old you are, there's always something for you. You can still do it no matter if you're a teenager, an adult, or a young kid. There's still time to do that thing you want to do always from when you're a little kid. There's always time to do that.
1,000,000% spot on.
But like you are the host of Creative for More podcast, where you talented female interpreters to come to like a basic and metaphor and step into food potential and purpose. Like, how do you want your listeners to go into purpose after listening?
I feel like if you're alive and breathing on this beautiful earth that God created, your purpose is still there for you to pursue and live out. And like I said, it does grow and evolve as you grow and evolve, but everybody has a purpose. And it's so beautiful once you get into like, the people that you meet, the people you live around, and we tend to just not do anything with it. And so that purpose is you always growing yourself and connecting with other people so that there's growth together. Our purpose is different for everyone. And I think one thing is sometimes we feel like it has to be this big, grandiose purpose, right? We're going to save the world or change the world. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's as simple as being somebody in the neighborhood who walks their dog every day, smiling at the neighbors, offering to help carry their trash out, and just being a presence in the community that is helpful to other people. That is a beautiful purpose in itself. On the other side, it could be something like starting a business or being a leader in a corporation, right? Maybe you have like a 9-to-5 job and you're a leader. You're changing lives, whether you know it or not. Change lives for the better, not for the worse. Yeah, I don't know. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that answered my question perfectly.
Okay.
Like this is like no matter if it's like a big purpose or small purpose, there's always something to do with no matter if it's like a big business or walking the dog every single day. If I have 3 dogs of my own and they need walks every single day or food or whatever they need to do. Like it's just like no matter how hard it gets, it's just like there's always a purpose in life. There's always a purpose.
Right.
No matter if it's one person or a million.
Exactly. And I even think that there's no small purpose. They're all equal. It's just your purpose is your purpose. And it's just as big as the next person's, just as important as the next person's.
And like if someone is listening to your podcast and wants to become a successful interpreter or kind of wants to find a purpose, what would you recommend? I know that might be a little hard question. I know it's not. It might be a little hard too.
No, you're good. I'm just trying to think of how to share it in a new way. I think I kind of started it already. So if you are an entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, just somebody who is wanting to have a life that is more purposeful and intentional, again, start with defining what that successful lifestyle looks like to you. And, one of these questions that has always it's a popular one, but it's one of my favorites is when you're, in your 90s, sitting on the rocking chair in the front porch, looking back at your life, what do you want it to look like? What do you want people to say about you? Go live that way right now because the opportunity is right in front of you. And it just starts with the actions that you're deciding to take right now.
Like no matter like there's always that one action that people will always know you for, whether it's like your personality, how hard you work. I know like when you're always older, like I know like from talking to people and these things out there, you're like, oh, I wish I did this or when I'm there reflecting on their life. But it's like I've lived my life so good that I'm like, why would I change a thing in my life?
Yeah.
Even though you wish you made change or some done some things, of course. I think about that a lot too as well. I wish I could add or change things that happened over like my course of like my 16 years of life. I know there might not be tons of mistakes or things that happen, but there's always things you kind of wish to change or want to kind of add. These like of course you might want to live a good life. Of course, when you're like as you get older, you're like, what do I want to do before I die? Like, what do I actually want to do? But then it's like, I think I already have enough, like in my life right now. I have my family's healthy. I have an amazing family. I have a good job. That's the best part. As long as you have all of those things and whatever goals you have, then you'll be still set, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But like, what is some advice for a woman looking for success or wants to start a podcast of their own?
Go for it. Again, make that decision and commitment and start talking about it. Get into communities, find a coach, and don't give up. I mean, honestly, that's like the 3-step pathway to creating anything that you want. Obviously, there's more strategy that can go into it and more micro steps, but honestly, decide and commit, take action, and don't give up. That's what you got to do to make anything happen. I feel like to believe in the possibility, believe that you can do it, even if you don't know what it looks like. Trust yourself and trust that you can do it one step at a time.
Like, there's always a process in starting things. Like, there's nothing happens
Oh,
over.
yeah.
You mean maybe small steps like that happens overnight, but nothing big happens overnight. That's something I
Right.
learned is that like not everything is gonna turn out to be big or whatever.
Yeah.
Even if you start a business, like that business might not be as good as your mindset. As long as you're working hard and doing all those things, and you're basically all set. I know that might
Yep.
sounds a little bit cliche, but like
I
that's
know.
the best probably thing to kind of
It
like
is.
say or
It
whatever.
is. And you know what's funny is like while we're going after this big goal or this vision that we're holding on to, that's what's going to help you get there. But the journey, the mistakes, the lessons, the ups and downs that you're learning along the way, that's actually the best part. And in the
Mhm.
moment, you're going to feel frustrated and defeated and maybe even just upset that it's not working out for you, but it actually is working out for you just a little differently than you wanted or expected. And the growth that comes because of it is massive. And it's like the best thing in the world. So, good
Mm-hmm.
question.
For sure. And I want to thank you so much, Lisa, for joining and thank you everyone for listening to this episode. I had so much fun talking to you and you're
Thank
amazing
you.
and I wish you
Oh,
all the best. If you ever need help at all, I'll be happy to help you in any way. And I love your work. I wish you nothing better than success. Thank you so much, Lisa, for joining. I really appreciate it for your time.
thank you. Thank you, Kylie. It's my pleasure and honor, and you're amazing. And I'm so grateful that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in this world. This is beautiful.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll definitely talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Bye.